guys, welcome back. So I'm gonna show you guys my Altergeist Dogmatika Deck profile. I've been playing it for quite some time now. I saw the first iteration of this particular build at the LCS, right? It was like interesting for sure. Like I've seen it before where people play Punishment, but not to the point where they play Nadir and Yugioh and stuff. So that was really interesting to me. I was like, let me try it. It seems pretty cool. So I ended up trying it, but once again, for those of you that are aware and know that when I profile this deck, I don't like extravagance. I value the extra deck too much to play extravagance, right? So let's go ahead and show you. Because 3 Mario, right? 3 Mario. It's amazing. It's just it's basically a Psalm Strike on itself, or set Manny. So if you have like an established game state, right, you have like a Altergeist monster in grave, it's reborn itself that turn, or you can just set Manny and reborn on their turn, which is insane, right? It's just it's an amazing top deck for sure. Starter, it can be decent if you open a Faker, but other than that, it's just an amazing top deck. And then you have, of course, the MVP of the deck, 3 Faker. It's how you generate all of your resources. End phase Faker is just the proper way to do it. Unless you're about to die, you don't really want to be prematuring summoning Faker, because like you want to get the most value out of him. So end phasing Faker, summoning Seek, and then into Hextia. Seek search Mario. Mario sets. Link with a Hexia into Mario, or bring back the Faker with the and then it's just snowball from there, right? Because the Hexia gets you so many searches. So that's like the ideal scenario that you want to use Faker as. Unless you're about to die, of course, then you just have to use the bounce, which is perfectly understandable. And then this is controversial. It's always been controversial, but it's something that I've just gotten accustomed to. Opening up 3 so the greatest 3 Silk is so good. I can't play 2. I can't play 1 for sure because I play Desires. But 3, I've always loved 3. It always come up. It's never been in a situation where I've had it in my hand. I'm like, oh, I wish there's something else. It's always been amazing, especially if you're opening up with this. Like, worst case scenario is if you open up this and these 2 guys, which is highly likely. Oh, hang on, that's too many. And this one, right? Because even this is a versatile setup, right? Because let's say you open up these 3 cards, right, on top of the other 2 cards that whatever they might be, right? Summon, set, right? Negate effects, right? Negate effects, and then just bring it back because it'll be in the grave because you send it off protocol, and you and bring it back, right? And then you bounce the card, and then whenever this dies, you add back Manny, and already you're back to square one. You're still gonna do the same thing over again. Like that's just worst case scenario, man. That is worst case scenario. How is that not good? All this matchup is amazing too. Like you go Manny, they chain, and then you just chain this, bounce the Manny, still summon your monster. Like little intricate plays like that are just too like good to not want to consider. Like especially at a competitor level, like all these niche things that you can do with it is really, really cool and very intriguing for sure. It's rewarding when you play correctly, right? And then he plays, of course, Seek. This just got way better now that I played the Dogmatika engine, because this Nadir is just amazing. You just pick 2 cards apart just by opening up those 2. This and Entis just pop, and then you get a punishment. It just it's so good. Like it's just so good. Of course, you have like one conqueror, because this is a lot more valuable now because of Zeus. Zeus is scary against this deck, man. If you don't have a way to answer it, it just sucks. So this just basically stops the XYZ from attacking, and then you get another card on the field, which is just so good. Of course, when you play your Dogmatika engine, right? You play this triple Ecclesia and the 1 Fur. In the extra builds, you could afford to play 1 because Nadir adds it from graveyard as well. But I play Desires, so I can't do that. But it's not that bad if you think about it, right? Because like your initial play before was like Mario and Faker, right? But like now you have another setup, which is pretty good. It's this and this. Like if you open up these 2, or like it just gives you more chances to opening up this and punishment. Like if you open up this and this, you still have punishment. If you open up this and the deer, you still have punishment. Like it's just so good. Like just maxing these guys out is not that problematic at all, because it doesn't take an aura summon, which is amazing. And that's worst case scenario if it does. But even then, you still get punishment. It's just so good. And of course, you play Triple Ash, the only hand trap apart from Imperm. It's just generically just hits anything basically. It just hits pots, hits scarlets that are quite crucial at times because they want to like chain to their Hakuero or Conquistador. And one of the biggest ones is hitting Red Eyes Fusion because the Dragoons is just so annoying, and which is why I really like Fleur and other builds. I don't play Fleur, but I really like Fleur because it outs Dragoons on its own. You just crash it. It's so good. Like you just bait it first, and the times you try to bait it to where they don't get the boost, which is something quite critical to understand, right? And then of course you have your spells, which is only 6. You only playing 6, right? So you play triple pot of desires because just you need to play pot. It's a higher card count deck, and you need to play it. And the minute you resolve one, it's as if you were playing 40 to begin with, anyways. You know, you're just getting rid of all the excess copies of the cards you just added, right? And of course, you play triple Nadir. This card just searches your punishment. It's just so good. It's just really good. Gets you to the floor. Just amazing. And that's your spells, right? And then you go back to your traps. So first off, you play more consistency, right? Spoofing. This is almost always live because it's such a high Altergeist card count. It's always gonna be live. It's just so good, and this is really good right now, especially because punishment's a card, and the minute they target your monster, right, you just spoofing it away, and it doesn't resolve. They don't get to send because it has no attack reference, which is huge, right? And then of course you play triple protocol because protocol is just amazing. Hard opening up either of these, right? It gives you the option to open up with Mario, so you can have the option to set the other one, right? So if you open up this in Mario, you set this. This in Mario, you set this. You know, just give you the option to just have that option, right? And this is just so good in the grind game. The amount of times I've had three this set, it's basically almost over at that point. It's just more so, okay, can you do anything? But it's just so good. Like having 3, it seems overkill, but you'd be surprised how often this just saves you for that one particular turn that you needed. And it lets you do some weird plays where you don't have to use your silk bounce yet, because most of the time they try to force the bounce by attacking and running over your silk. But okay, that's fine. And then before the end of the battle phase, you just bring it back, and then you just bounce, and then you bounce in. Like it's so good. The fact that that's a big thing that it's overlooked. Like that's like one of the really cool things you can do. And then of course you have your power traps. Right? You have your judgment, right? At first I was not a fan of this. I was not playing this, but the fact that you have Seek and Nadir, it lets you break boards, right? So then you can I guess they cripple their setup and then pop a back row, pop a monster, either or, whichever one anticipates whatever Seek hits, and then you say your judgment, and then have this be a bit more live, you know, because you essentially broke their board, and then you set this, and then whenever they try to do a significant push, you just negate anything. It can literally be it's an axe basically. It negates anything. It just says no to anything, which is huge, right? And then of course accompanied by 3 strike. It's just a counter trap. They can't respond. It's just good against Herald for sure, because that's one of your ways to get out of Herald. Impermanence. This is like the only deck that the impermanence actually shines, because like it's not that great right now. Like it's the only reason it's good in this deck is because of Silk, because you can just open up this and Faker, and that's the only reason why it's good. Because you negate an effect and then have a bounce to go along with it. So that's 2 interactions. So it's not too bad. And then of course you have your disruptive traps, right? So you get equalizers. Like you have your Torrent Tribute. When you get overwhelmed, you just flip this, and it's so satisfying. And then what makes it even better is if you have Faker in hand. Like it's just so good. Like it's just amazing. And then you have punishment, of course, because of the Dogmatic Engine. 3 because desires, and plus it's in the grind game. It's just amazing. It's just popping. It's just really good. So that's the main deck. But of course, like some of you might not agree, right? Because it's different, right? Why would you play a 40? Like, why would you play a 40? It's like it's if it's logical, you can increase the card count. For an interactive deck like this, you can increase the card count because you're just being interactive. You just adding cards that interact with cards, of course. And the whole I guess the argument of, oh, but you want to open up Seek, you want to open up Faker, you want to open up all these cards, you still have the same chances. Like you still gonna, it's like, how many times you open that one up? How many times have you opened that one of the United to open? Yu-Gi-Oh ratios are a myth, man. You gotta understand me. They're just the myth within logic, right? Within reason, of course. I'm not trying to play like freaking vanillas and stuff, you know, like there has to be some logical reasons. But all these have synergy with each other, you know. They all have, it makes sense, right? But if you're gonna get to the very, very peculiar and go by percentages, like, oh, it's a 3% chance, oh, there's like a 10%. Dude, chill out, man. Chill out. Oh my god. Okay. And then here's the side deck. Okay, so you have like triple evenly for sure. It's like evenly in guys. It's just a staple basically. And then you have triple prophecy because this is good against Drytron. It gets Eldritch. Sometimes it gets Eldritch. You want to put this in, but mainly Drytron. When you go first, right? It's just a chainable trap. You hit the ritual monster that turn a ritual summon. You hit any of the Drytrons that are already engraved, chain to it, you know, which is really, really good. And then if you have Mask of Restrict, just because Drytron's a bit of an issue for this deck, because going second is kind of a nightmare. So the ideal scenario is if you go Kaiju the Herald, right, and then set Mask and pass. That's the whole reason for this particular side, right? Kaiju the Herald, set these two or set any traps and pass. And more often than not, it's gonna be GG because you're gonna have all these other traps that you have, or you're gonna open it with the Geist cards, which these are meant to be 3 Gamma Seal, of course, but I'm having trouble finding some, but I'll get a hold of some pretty soon. And then the Cosmic just against Eldritch is just amazing. Like letting Eldritch go first with this, and this is like, wow. Like it's just, you just break their entire setup, you know. And then you can outgrind them because you play 3 of this. Playing 3 of this lets you outgrind Eldritch, which is huge. It's just super, super huge. It's not standard for sure. It's gonna take a while to get used to because everyone's just so fixated on 40. 40 is the optimal amount number, you know. But like, if it makes sense, and if it's not too irrational, then going above 40 is perfectly fine. It's perfectly. You have so many ways to get to your cards. Like, you know, you playing triple this, triple spoofing, triple of the card itself, triple pot. Like, it's not too crazy when you actually think about it. It's not too crazy. It's just face value. You just want to be like, oh, you know, it doesn't make sense. But just trust me, it works and it's amazing. And okay, so the extra deck is triple this. Of course, you have to play this. Like, you just have to. Triple. You're not playing triple XT. I don't know, man. And then of course you have this card's amazing. Access code. This for to out Dragoons because Dragoons is the biggest issue for this deck. Then you have your Nightmare package, right? You just climb into these guys. And of course you have Link Rebo, Anima, Mirage, love this little guy. And then the Dogmatika targets, right? I'm missing Artemis. It's still coming in the mail. I think I just cut Borlet and keep these. Because Artemis is huge. You need Artemis. Because there's times where you have a Mario, want to link away the Mario, but you can't. And you can link away this, link away the Silk, but you can't link with Mario. And that's sometimes it's kind of an issue when it comes to consistency with your Dogmatika engine. You need to be able to summon the Ecclesia and get your punishment surge as an interaction, and that's huge. But yeah, I think I might just cut that and put in the Artemis because yeah, as minimal as it seems like the toolbox is, it makes the biggest difference. Trust me, it makes the fact that you can do this or do that or do that, climb to this. If you don't have that in Altergeist, it just goes back. Okay, did you lose control? Yeah, I lost control. It's been basically loose. You know, like you can't. Like you need to be able to break their board and then set up after you broke their board, right? Because like making a hex deal or just passing with just a silk bounce after they set up a board is kind of underwhelming, right? But let's say you go, okay, I'll go Anima, take, search Mario, and then you go Phoenix, pop, and then climb to this Mario summon. You most likely had this already. Mario then resummon this, climb to this, and then it's poof. You know, like not having that is just a big issue for me, and I like having that. But other than that, I don't want to make this deck pro so long. But anyways, I'll do the junk doppel deck little glimpse in another video because I've been working on it, and I'll do a bit of a replay so you can have a little bit of insight of how it's meant to function. But other than that, that's gonna be it. Hopefully enjoy the video. If you want any of these field centers, the link is in the description, and they look nice. They look super nice. Look at this. How cool does this look? Awesome. Oh yeah, so if you want to go in the description, and that's it. Hopefully enjoy the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.